Has everybody else already gone? Or am I missing anybody?
Yes.
I think that's everyone.
I think
Okay.
that's everyone.
Your job is to be... actually, I'm going to move over here. The first thing they have you do is come over to what appears to be a lift. Why can't I move you? There you go. A lift. As you, and your job for the first little while is to operate this lift. It goes up and down to the bottom of the cavern, and it brings up supplies, people, and you realize that this is the #1 way to come and go from the outpost. And you realize that it is just kind of based on how slow it goes and how far it goes. You gather that you are about 100 feet off the ground.
Okay, so they brought us up here and they just left us here?
No, you're still being supervised. Basically, there are 2 Quaggoth who are operating the lift. They're kind of turning it. And they're bringing, like, up supplies, or they're bringing down soldiers. And as you arrive, the Quaggoth step back and they point at Anazira and Nakul, and they want you to operate this lift while they go on break. Now you are in
there's
sight.
Supplies coming up and down it?
Mostly other drow. The supplies, it's like kind of menial, but yeah, like random things. Well, so they're only allowing about 3 slaves per activity. So the other slaves that were part of your shift have been moved elsewhere.
And we're just operating the lift. So
But you can use this as an opportunity to try to gather information. But I do need the 2 who are operating the lift to make 2 athletic checks. You're able to pull up some supplies. There is a drow accompanying them. He kind of like doesn't even notice you there. He just looks, you guys are just trash. In Elvish, this drow looks at, another drow approaches him. He's like, we found some supplies while raiding. Where do you want us to put it? The other drow says, put it in the armory with the other stuff. I think that's where we're stashing all the captives' goods until we can find a buyer for them. And so he kind of nods and they carry off the supplies.
I'm going to keep an eye on it because I heard that and I'm trying to figure out where they're going.
Do you have dark vision?
I do not, unfortunately.
So as soon as they kind of leave...
I was thinking I'd follow as well, but I follow with my eyes where they're going, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing yet. So
You're there helping. You're like helping unload. You're a part of this whole thing.
Okay.
You actually notice that he takes it towards the initial guard tower that you were moved through when you were brought here.
If I'm helping unload, can I do an insight check to see what's in them, or?
Sure, go ahead. They snatch it too fast for you to get a glance. But
okay.
One of them, as they're carrying it, one of them roughly grabs you by the wrist and very disrespectfully speaks to you in Undercommon instead of Elvish. Follow me. We're bringing this to the armory. So
Okay.
You are going to be taken. You guys are still operating the lift, but you have to follow. You're carrying your poor frail little body. They bring you all the way up here, back to this room, up the ladder to the 2nd floor, and have you start placing boxes. And they have you help them. The 2 drow are mostly kind of figuring out where to put stuff. Make a investigation check for me. Oh, This is the mother lode.
That's our sneaky boy.
This this is where you see all kinds of not only drow make weapons and armor, rope, torches. You see on the shelves component pouches, some focuses. You see a glaive, you see swords, you see an elven make hammer and shield. This is where they're stashing everything.
I was wondering if I could try to make a sleight of hand to go for anything. Like maybe a focus of someone's or something like that.
Okay, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. With the 22, you indeed swipe the closest focus you can. It's a silver engraved pan flute, very beautiful. You see it and you're able to swipe it and kind of like tuck it away. Wonderful. I'm gonna cut back to our other two. And you guys are basically directed into the two barracks to clean. All right, so the two of you are now cleaning. So as you're in there, there's actually in each of these places, there is one drow in each barracks on their bed, meditating. They are in a trance, just kind of ignoring you. And you just have to spend the day cleaning.
Is there like gear or like tool chests or anything of their stuff near them?
You notice each of these pallets has a chest at the foot. The one drow that is meditating has his equipment underneath his pallet, which is short sword, a hand crossbow, a case of hand crossbow bolts, his chains shirt, and a 100-foot coil of silk rope with a small grappling hook at the end. So that's underneath the resting drow's pallet, and then inside of the chest, as you're cleaning, you notice that there are drow poison inside, used to treat drow arrows. Actually, you know what? Stool is on your shift. So I'm going to say you can't speak telepathically. I'm going to let Spore, who has been taken from you before you were all separated, gave you a little whiff. So you know what? Go ahead.
A little whiff. I think hard towards the other two, cleaning the other two rooms. How likely are we to be caught stealing?
I'm not sneaky at all, so fairly likely for me.
Well, I did find our equipment.
Oh, you found it? At the armory?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
How well
you-
guarded is it?
Doesn't seem to be that well guarded. I think I didn't see anyone on the way in here. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of drow, but they don't seem to be paying much attention.
Sounds like a good job for that thief back in the cave.
Are you still in the armory?
Yes, I am.
I think a couple of our escape party is also casters. I think if you could grab some of their things as well, might be helpful.
I'm not sure if I should take much more than I already have, because I might get caught. Not exactly a thievy type either.
Understood. Okay. I have these poisons in front of me. I don't know what they do. All I know is that drown poisons are not the most pleasant. Could we try and take them?
Are they resistant to the poisons that they make?
I do not know.
Could I have
Yeah, with Yaslin.
could I have a
yeah.
check on that to see if I know?
Yeah, go ahead and roll history. Because you are not a poison maker, but you might know.
History. Ooh, I'm not good at that. Yeah, we don't really deal in poisons and stuff. I've never really been exposed to it, so no idea.
there any particularly small items that I can take?
And we're not wearing very much, right? Like
You're in
do we have
sackcloth.
places to like shove things?
Little things you could kind of like hide under your armpit or something, but anything really big, like you couldn't haul a lot. Like the arcane focus, I think, is easy to hide.
The grappling hook is a no.
Probably, yeah. Now, the fact that you know this stuff is here, remember, guys, you were dragged here in chains, right? It took you weeks to get from the last outpost to this outpost. So you realize if you are going to escape out of here, you will need supplies or you will die. So as you plan your escape, knowing where they're keeping the equipment, the rope, the torches, your weapons, that's going to save your life. The food.
I think for now, our best bet is to snag anything small that might be easy to miss and leave the rest for later collecting by quicker hands or lighter feet. Well, we all have options for poison, right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an attempt to grab the poison that was in the.
Make a sleight of hand. Oh, you just beat it.
Ugh.
You swipe a tiny vial, a nasty little vial of drow poison. And I'm going to put it in your inventory.
Not my armpit.
Yeah, your inventory
That's
is
your
your
inventory.
armpit.
It's better than it being somewhere else.
I mean, you stick it up your tail.
Oh.
It's going to smell a little funky later, but
Extra poison.
Oh.
yeah, it's extra toxic. You swipe it. You kind of bump the thing a little bit. The drow kind of, and then just gets back to his meditative trance.
Are there any papers that I can read?
You just see this nice little thing. You've actually noticed it posted around a lot.
Okay.
And you notice it lists every drow soldier that works this outpost. And as you notice, as you can see, it's a pretty fully operated outpost.
Yeah.
You finish your long shift. All of you have gathered a little bit of information. And you have a rare moment over your crappy bowl of mushroom soup to discuss what you have found and the plan. And you can also, any kind of information that you might have missed, feel free to ask the NPCs and I'll make a roll for them to see if they actually gathered information for you. That can also help.
I had a quick question for clarification.
Yes.
I had the dwarven woman's name written down as Eldrith, but you wrote it down in the party journal as Eldith.
It's Eldeth.
Which one's correct?
Eldeth.
No R. Okay.
No R, Eldeth.
La muerte.
I don't know.
The death. Sorry.
Oh, Eldeth. Yes.
Eldeth.
Do you know how you say death in Spanish? Eldeth. I didn't roleplay as a lot of the NPCs during this little section because I didn't want to distract from you guys exploring, but Eldeth has been particularly friendly to you, Kothar.
I was going to say that I like sit next to her and I say, so did you discover anything?
She's going to look around and go, you first. Just because I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what I want to share with you yet.
Well, we found a particularly nasty spider. One
There's a
statue
lot of those
and
around
one
here.
Not.
Oh, you're
was
new.
that?
You're new here, aren't you? Don't you know? Don't you know?
Don't you know?
If they don't like you, if they think that you aren't valuable, or you're too much trouble, they'll throw you over the side of the rope bridge. There's a whole web right underneath. They'll throw you into the web. The spiders will come and they will consume you. I've seen it happen.
Yes, that's what Hemlock said. She spoke with the spider.
Nasty little critters.
Did you say you made friends with the spider?
Not friends.
Oh, I feel like that's an exaggeration.
Hemlock, I wouldn't say he was particularly friendly to you, was he?
Oh, no. He definitely wanted to consume the flesh from my bones. And, like, I get that a lot.
Sorry.
You know, as
Again.
a very...
Sorry.
Yeah. I understand. Part of the circle of life. I would rather not be on that side of the circle, but here we are. But he was very forthcoming that he has lots and lots of friends. There are many other spiders. They all want to murder us, and they have a very big web. But they won't murder us until the drow say it's okay.
But we did also see some jewels next to the spider. They looked loose. Maybe valuable?
Cora immediately perks up and is now interested in the
I was
conversation.
gonna ask, does Cora hear this?
Yes. Yeah, she comes closer.
Kothor's not even realizing it, and she goes and he says, they were particularly shiny too.
Shiny?
I do suppose finding a little bit of capital might be useful if we are to get out of here. There are lots of traders in the Underdark.
Yeah, and Kothar looks back at Lucius and says, Lucius grabbed a note.
A note?
Yes. And also, he kind of flashes that he has this iron bar. I could probably pull those jewels out if there was enough distraction from the spider and that drow lady.
Shiny for Cora?
Yes. Yes, we
dear.
will give you the shiny.
Yeah, we found a note too, except I didn't get a chance to read it. So there's no way we're ever going to know what it said.
I think
there's
Cora
some-
read it.
I did read
There's
it.
no way we're going to know what it said.
Well, was there
it's
someone with you?
just the bird and the someone else, but they didn't get to look at anything. We went over these bridges that they were kind of hard to cross, you know. The drow didn't have a problem. It was a little harder to cross, but
Dr. Howard, you
yes.
do understand that Cora isn't a bird, right? We've been over this.
I'm sorry, but I think I know what a bird is.
Have
Young
you
lady.
seen a 4-foot crow before?
No, but I've seen a 5-foot pigeon.
Okay, well that probably wasn't actually a bird either. Cora is a kenku. I'm gonna turn towards Cora and be like, did you read the note?
She squawks happily.
Well, that was a happy squawk, so I'm sure that was affirmative.
Oh, does the
What?
Kinku read? That would be quite helpful.
Well,
Okay.
I have a few notes too.
So this might be tricky, but so Cora didn't grab the note, correct?
No.
She just saw it.
You just saw
Okay.
it.
All I read of it was there. I'll just say, all I read of it was something like cutting rations because of the troops, and I couldn't finish up the rest of it.
Oh, we
Um,
heard about that.
So then Cora imitates the sound of a rock.
Do you know what a rock sounds like? I think.
Cora does.
Ellie
doesn't. Cora.
So,
Well, I think Cora and I are both from the Underdark,
so
right?
a
I'm not
rock.
from the Underdark, but I spent a lot of time there.
Of rock. I'm gonna need Cora to make a history check.
Okay.
Can I do the same actually?
Yes.
If I'm a deep dweller.
Right, but you haven't heard the word rock yet, so you don't know quite
Maybe
yet.
she would like understand the sound that I make.
So this
Oh
is-
no, I might not know what it makes. Okay.
So
Okay, we're gonna
yeah, you
do
might not know
all
what a
of it.
rock even is. I'm hesitant to tell you.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
So make
I'm
a
gonna
history
roll.
check.
The drow here might. know.
Holy. Okay, so Hemlock would probably know if she knew, but we got to see if Cora. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna DM you, Elephane.
Okay. Okay. So here's the sound that Cora makes. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. My
I'm
body
ready
is
for this.
And she starts to she's like mimicking like claws, and like she starts like snarling and like shrieking. Oh god, that's maybe gonna be she makes an ear-splitting shriek, and she just starts like sort of like gnarling around and like making that motion.
Let me look at his abilities. There might actually be. So, the key characteristic of this creature that you're describing has a screech that is so powerful it can stun anyone who listens to it. So when you imitate this sound,
Nice.
you don't have the power that the stunning ability, but everybody who hears it, chills go down your spine, and you actually, because Cora can mimic the sound of it perfectly, even if it doesn't have the same magical effect.
So now I recognize it, right?
You recognize it. I'm gonna send you a picture of what this
God.
is.
Okay, so like as you make the sound, Hemlock's eyes go wide, and she turns to you and she's like, "Oh, it's a rock? Was it a rock?
She starts nodding.
Oh no 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 no."
Wait,
Wait a
what's
second,
up?
And then she says, "Lots,
Did you say rock hemlock?
lots."
Rock. Oh dear.
That's
okay.
what they were talking about in that room. The two
Everyone
drows.
else, unless you would have a story reason to know anything about demons, will not actually know what a rock is. Out of character, it is a demon. It is not a natural creature of the Underdark, but Underdark does have close ties to the Abyssal Plane, mostly because of Lolth. So they're not common. The fact that Hemlock and Cora just rolled stupid good. They shouldn't know what this is, but they for some reason, maybe they've heard crazy stories about it. Cora, obviously, she's heard it.
Would Yaslin know because she's grown up in Drow society?
You did not grow up in this Drow society.
Well,
You are
you know
not.
what I mean, but stories of Drow society.
You wouldn't know what a rock is, no.
Okay.
What about Kothar, the tiefling?
Yeah.
Do you have knowledge of the abyss?
I would assume a little bit, so I've probably vaguely heard of them, but I don't know extensively.
Maybe you don't know what it's called, but you could imagine that sound sounds demonic to you. It does not sound worldly. Like, it wasn't just a screech. It was a screech with a gurgle and a suction and a shred. Like, it was this very complex sound layered with horror and the screams of infants being torn from their mother. It's like the worst thing you have ever heard.
Kothar like grabs Nikul's arm and kind of like grips, and he turns to him and says, "Are there demons in the Underdark?"
I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're here. No
His
offense.
eyes narrow.
What?
Are you an abyssal tiefling or a
Variant.
meaning so there's two types of fiends, devils and demons. Most tieflings are of the devil variety. However, technically a tiefling is just a human mixed with a creature of the outer plane, but it's most commonly devils, specifically like Asmodeus or just any of the archdevils, like that ancestry. Especially since devils like to copulate with mortals all the time. Whereas demons are more animalistic and bestial, and there are mixes, they're just more rare. So I don't know if your tiefling is more demonic or devilish.
I'm actually going to say he doesn't know because he doesn't know his parents.
Okay.
Is this more of a, when it comes to like demons, is this more of a extra planar thing or religious thing?
Extra planar.
Okay.
There are demon cults, but
I just didn't know if that, with the deities and things like that, I didn't know if they.
some
they were
deities
kind of
are
yeah.
technically demons. So the thing is, this is what's interesting. Deities can be a demon, or they could be a celestial. Being a deity and could be a mortal that turned into a deity. Deity is kind of its own status. Lolth, for instance, and Yaslin, you would know this. Lolth is the patron elven goddess of the elves. She is the mother of all elves. She is the former consort of Corellon, the creator of all elves, and she betrayed him, and she now actually owns her own lair in the abyss, the demon web. So she is a demon, but she's also a goddess, and she's also an elf. So demon is a broad term to describe a creature that has either been touched by the demonic planes or is a denizen of the abyss. It's very complicated.
Wow, cosmology.
I love it. Anyways, Hemlock, Cora, you were able to replicate the sound, and Hemlock, your blood goes cold.
I feel like Hemlock has heard this sound before, got the fuck out of Dodge, and then came back and saw the aftermath later, and that's enough.
Okay.
That's enough to be like,
So why did she screech like that?
Well, because she was telling us that there are rooks who are attacking the drow. So, okay. And normally I would say the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but in this case, I want to make it very clear that they are both our enemies.
Very.
In one of the rooms, we were pouring water in. The elves are talking about rocks interrupting the rations that they're getting into the camp.
So, Cora like nods enthusiastically, and then she says, "Note."
And also on top of that, I have 2 notes. One says that one of their commanders is a little sour about being relieved of his position, and the other had a schedule of the guard shifts across the days and when they cycle out.
Excellent. Can anyone here tell what time it is?
I guess
So-
guard shifts wouldn't matter if we don't
Those
know
of
what
you
time it
from the
is.
surface do not know how time is kept and calculated, but those in the Underdark understand that even though there is no sun to track time, and time is usually more kept from like when you're awake versus when you're asleep, drow do have the magical means to keep time. They use the cycles of the sun because they were once creatures of the surface world, and so their timekeeping methods they brought with them, they use magical devices to keep track of time. So they use the same, they still use like AM, PM, it's 5 a.m., it's 10 p.m. They still use that language. Even if
So
you
when I say
can't tell.
when I say that, do either of the drow here have any response to that?
So you're asking.
Well, I was actually thinking maybe the deep gnomes or one of the other denizens might be able to tell better, because she just said we use a special device to tell the time.
I think so when I was reading about drow outposts, they say that they usually have some kind of like crystal or thing in the middle of their town or somewhere visible that is observable by everybody to kind of like see what time it is, like a clock, a magical clock. For simplicity's sake, let's just say it's that. So you guys, while inside of the slave pens, might not really know the time. With some peeking around, eavesdropping, or when you're out, you would be able to kind of like check times.
Well, if we know when the first guards arrive, all we have to do is count down to the next guards. I suggest we split up and grab what we can when we get out. We found a bunch of rations. We're going to need to eat.
Do we know what our equipment is?
Yes, I found the equipment.
Did you grab anything?
Only one thing that I could manage to grab.
Oh,
But it's useless until we get out anyway, so because of spell warding.
You grabbed a spell focus?
Did you see
Yes.
my hat?
You did see her
I
hat
believe so,
because you
yes.
got
I got critical on that, yes. I
Was,
saw a hat.
was there a mule?
You did not see a
Mule-
mule.
A mule's
No.
this long.
There was no animals.
Are we able to see like soldiers from where we are? Like,
If you look through the bars,
mhm.
it's like a kind of like a grate that's covering you. So it's not like a solid door, it's like a grate. And if you look straight out the mouth, you see the rope bridge leading to the stalactite that's kind of carved out and open. So you can see the 2 regular drow and an elite drow just kind of lounging about there, paying attention. They're not really paying attention. They're just there to make sure no one like comes running out. But you do notice that drow and Quaggoth regularly patrol back and forth, go to the north, go across the bridge.
I think our spiders will be useful to kind of keep track of that on the outside.
Cora, go ahead.
No, you go first, and then Eldeth is going to speak up.
Okay. So Cora gestures to the guards outside, potential soldiers, and says, "Hungry." She points at them, referring to the rations being cut, and says, "Bribe?"
Well, maybe we could bribe them, but do you think they might be weak? Not as well suited for combat?
Yes. Hungry.
I have additional plan on top of that. If we can trick them into eating some rations, and I reach into my armpit pocket. Oh no, it was under my tail.
Reach into your butt.
This is what the sound. This is the sound of your butt.
Everyone recoils except for Stool.
Stool shake.
Kothar grips Nicole and says, "Don't you ever do that."
This is drow poison that
Poison.
I acquired.
So, Hemlock is suddenly very interested in what Anazir has to say.
It's like, huh, just some poison you got there. We could definitely poison the rations. That's an option. I'm also very good at adding poison to weapons. It's a bit of a party trick.
Hemlock, if you are able to observe this poison, I would allow you to investigate it and give you additional information about it, since you are a poisoner.
I would love that.
But Anazira has to willingly give it to you.
Could I just look at the poison, maybe? My name is Hemlock. Come on.
I will happily let you observe this, and under the only contingency is don't leave me behind when you all leave. And I hand it to
I'm gonna be like,
Cora sees this and she giggles because she knows how hard it is for her to make promises. She always keeps them.
so Hemlock's like buffering right now.
Yeah.
I would never intentionally leave you behind.
intentional or not. I want it. No left behind.
Are you gonna make that
You
promise?
don't leave without me.
Oh, Hemlock looks so nervous because that's quite a promise.
I will do everything.
Everyone's staring at you. Everyone's staring at you.
I know.
Oh, please.
Kothar will notice Hemlock's hesitation and he'll just speak up and say, "I promise that we won't leave you behind."
He promises that we won't leave you behind.
We make no promises that we won't leave the fairy behind, though.
That's fair.
I give him a side eye because I'm like, he wanted to help me first, and I believe he means it, but I also am aware of his limitations. So I'm like, how much strength does he have to promise me?
You hear someone interrupt you. You hear Eldeth. This is all fine and dandy. And I suppose I appreciate the fact that you've all found our missing supplies. I myself have a family heirloom or two I would like to recover. But how are we going to actually leave the camp? I think we're about 100 feet off the ground, and the only way I saw to leave is a lift.
I like flap my wings. I'm like,
I don't know.
I suppose other...
Anything else?
And we got a bird too.
Well, I look pointedly at her and her wings like, this is exactly why I want the promise. But then I also mention, I may or may not know the location of a grappling hook and rope as well.
There was, yes. I found one as well. I couldn't swipe it.
There are
I say,
multiple.
well,
You
we
suddenly, you hear a gruff voice. There's always the waterfall. If you're willing to deal with the slime at the bottom. And the drow kind of like looks over at you all.
What kind of slime?
They have us throw the filth we create. Empty the chamber pots in the waterfall. There's a pool down there, I know, that we could maybe make it down there, but there is a gray
How
ooze.
deep is this pool?
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna just kind of like pause at Azira. Be like, oh, just so you know that the what's his name, Jorlin, is turning on shore soon and will probably get caught in the crossfire. Hopefully that works out for us. Do you know anything about them?
Do I know anything about them?
Have you heard
No,
anything?
I'm talking to
the drow. Oh.
Oh.
I feel
thought
like
you were
he's
talking
a
about-
soldier. He would have the drow gossip.
He wasn't stationed here. He's from
Oh.
somewhere else, but he picked up on it as well. He was like, yeah, I've seen their little circus.
A lover's quarrel.
That's cute. As he says that, as he's talking, you notice Stool kind of like hops over to this drow and he just like gently rests his like hand on top of Stool. Just like kind of relaxed.
Can I do a wisdom saving throw to see if I'm jealous?
Yeah.
My son!
How could you betray me?
Go
This
ahead.
guy's not even nice to me.
He's been pretty neutral to all of you.
How
Not
do
for
I-
me.
He hasn't used any drowish slurs against you. That's pretty nice.
That's true. He has not.
All the other drow are calling you trash.
well, you know,
As this is happening, is there anyone who is standing particularly close to the door?
No, cool.
Nicole, you're sitting there. You hear a little.
Knock? Footsteps. I can't.
Tapping?
Tapping?
We can't hear that.
Hemlock, you're not jealous. You actually are starting to think that it's kind of like, oh, maybe I misjudged him.
yeah, okay. I'm like,
Okay. All right.
Sorry. Is
Someone's
are the
tapping.
doors
Trying.
solid? Okay.
No, they're bars.
Okay.
And then
Can I
you
come and
hear in Elvish. Oh, it's so perfect that you speak Elvish. How would you fuckers like to get out of here?
I don't hear this. I'm like,
Stool.
I don't speak Elvish, so.
Wait,
None
do
of
I
them-
recognize the
does
voice?
anyone hear the
or is-
whisper?
Yes, you. Well,
I
make a
hear it.
history. Make a history checks just to see how quickly you decide pick up who this is.
And it's just him who hears the whisper, right?
Yeah, Nicole.
Because he's by the door.
Jorlin is whispering to you. His scarred face, his missing fingers. He's not looking directly at you. It looks like he's just leaning against casually. And he just leans like, how would you fuckers like to get out of here?
Yes, but what's the catch?
No catch.
In elf.
I'll just, I don't know, leave the door open. When the time is right, do whatever you want. Look, you're a slave. I really don't care what happens to you. I just think it would be kind of hilarious. Elvira really hates her position here, but she has to do it because if she doesn't, her career is over. So it would look really bad for her if the entirety of our quarry just happens to slip out on her watch. Again, I don't care what happens to you. I'm going to make that very clear. And I'm not going to do anything that's going to get me in trouble. But you might find the door unlocked. Do with that what you will. And then he just walks away.
I turn and look at the rest of the group, and I'm like,
What?
What do you say?
the scarred drow said to
Jorlin.
leave the Jorlin. Is that his name?
Keep up.
Okay. He.
Yes, Jorlin is the scarred drow. What did he say?
Yes. Okay. He said that he would leave the door unlocked at some point, and we are free to try and escape.
Jorlin friend?
Jordan, not friend. He doesn't care if we die, but if we can make it out, it would benefit him.
I can respect a man going to this level of pettiness to spite his ex. Okay.
I
What,
don't
just because he's
understand
helping
that.
us?
Just
I have-
soft boy.
I have a crumpled letter from Jorland here that I managed to steal from his quarters. If you guys want to read it. Well, actually, I can only read it. It says that he got relieved of his position, so he is upset with the silver person.
Well, he said that it would be hilarious if the entire quarry
That's us.
managed to escape.
I like that.
Hey,
I am distrustful of this person, but I think we should take this opportunity.
I
But
don't
have a
think we have
backup
an
plan.
option.
Oh, he'll definitely try to hunt us down to make himself look good. But
We just have
once
to
we're
run
out
further.
of here, we know where our stuff is. We can start casting once we're out of here. And look at all the friends we've made along the way. And I look to Cora. Be like,
friends.